Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Oh my goodness, what on earth happened last night on social media? For those of you who missed it, my oh my, was there a lot of conversation? Of course there's going to be conversation. Conversation is okay. I want to be very clear about that. Conversation is okay. The temper tantrums that were thrown by many on what we call the woke right, that's not okay. At least in my opinion, that's not okay. I saw a lot of people going, oh my gosh, Trump called Tucker Carlson kooky. He is kooky. He's a little kooky. We're all a little kooky. But I mean, you know, Sean's wackadoodle-doo. The laugh, the bow ties, you know. He's a little kooky. Love him, hate him, you can admit he's a little kooky. We call him Squeaky. Remember the Tucker Carlson. You know. I mean, when he started doing puff pieces about Russia, oh, look at how clean Russia is. I was like, guy might be losing the plot a little bit. That doesn't mean he's always wrong. It just, you know, a little kooky, that's all. Nothing wrong with that. We're all a little kooky, I think. I'm not immune to the kook, right? I'm a little kooky too. But the point about it is laugh at it, guys. There are people, he insulted Tucker Carlson, I'm done. Okay. Remember there was a bunch of lunatics who thought Tucker was going to be the vice president? Yeah. I'm very happy that didn't happen. Not that I don't like Tucker. It's just, you know, ever since he did the big swing and miss with the January 6th story at Fox and then the puff pieces on Russia, it's kind of like, all right, you know, guys are allowed to do what he wants to do, but, you know, I think he's out there sometimes. It's okay. You know, but kooky, I think, is a funny nickname. I think it's accurate. Did I warn you about Candace Owens or did I warn you about Candace Owens? Another one. Yesterday. Temper tantrum on social media. Then you have the, quote unquote, Dave Smith, the comedian. The air quotes comedian. You know, oh, that's it. I am sorry that I voted for Trump. Okay. All right. Great. Yeah. Well, who would you rather have in charge right now? Let me guess. Dave Smith would rather be in charge right now. That's what we need. Yeah. That's what we need. Okay. Hodge twins had a rough night last night on social media. They have lit their credibility on fire. So that's, you know, fun. I love jumping in there, man. They were like, there's a psyop to divide Trump's base. I'm like, yeah, it's you. Have you once considered it could be you? All right. I want to draw an important distinction. I put it up on social media today because there's a lot of, I'm going to use the word polarized, okay? There's a lot of polarization going on right now. And I don't think it's necessarily as bad as everybody's making it out to be. we're going to go through this distinction in just a second. Before we do that, I want to talk to you about our friends at OFP Farms. OFPfarms.com, OFPfarms.com, OFPfarms.com. I know so many of us in the live chat who are watching on Rumble, watching on X, watching elsewhere, they love OFP Farms, and for good reason, right? Let us know in the chat how much you love OFP Farms. OFPfarms.com, OFPfarms.com. Folks, they are a family-owned and operated, patriotic, America-first goat farm that provides quality goat milk products for everyday use. You know, they have the best soaps in the game. The best soaps. Oh, man, look at that. This is it right there. This is it, okay? You leave you smelling like a felon. I got the Goat Kisses lip balm. Their collection of goat milk products are enriched with vital nutrients of essential vitamins, minerals, and fatty acids to help promote optimal skin health. Not only are their goat milk products and lip balms top-notch, they also had, I don't know if they still have it in stock right now, the magnesium products, the magnesium stuff. Brennan loves that stuff. It's really good. OFP Farms can proudly boast thousands of 5-star reviews from people like you. Look at this live chat. From people like you who love OFP Farms. Thousands of 5-star reviews. If you've ordered from OFP Farms, you haven't given them a 5-star review yet, give them a 5-star review. Go to OFPfarms.com. Slather on the goat milk goodness and magnesium products that allow your skin to become the ultimate Powerhouse. Did you know that your skin is the largest organ on your body? Yeah, you go. There it is. OFPfarms.com. Check out their wide selection of goat milk soaps, lotions, lip balms, etc. That's at OFPfarms.com. If you're a newcomer to the show, welcome. And welcome not just to the LFA family, not just to the Ungovernable family, not just to the captain's crew, but to the OFP family as well. Go to OFPfarms.com. Use the promo code Sean, SHAWN, for 15% off. OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean. OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN for 15% off. Okay. I want to get to this distinction. I just posted something along these lines because I feel like there's a little bit of a misunderstanding regarding how people carry themselves online, okay? There is a difference between giving your opinion on decisions that the Trump administration has made, or any politician for that matter, but we're highlighting the Trump administration because that's what a lot of people talk about right now, okay? There's a difference between giving your opinion on decisions that the Trump administration has made, whether it's the Israel-Iran conflict, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, exemptions for, farm, leisure, and hospitality with ICE raids, endorsements, whatever it might be, okay? Anything, the big, beautiful bill, whatever it is, okay? There's a difference between giving your opinion on those decisions and those actions. There's a difference between giving your opinion or even, for lack of a better term, wargaming with people online, friends, family, whatever, having those discussions about potential outcomes and throwing your support out the window based on rumors. Okay, commenting on any given scenario, in my opinion, and discussing possible outcomes, both good and bad, if this, then what, if that, then this, is healthy. I think that's healthy. I, for one, love doing it. Okay, if we join the offensive with Iran, how involved are we? How many attacks do we make? Are we putting boots on the ground? Are we just, bombing the nuclear sites and getting out? Is it going to be like Soleimani, one and done? Or is it going to turn into Iraq? Is it going to turn into Afghanistan, right? If we give exemptions to farm, hospitality, and leisure, how many other industries are going to come back asking for the same exemptions that they, this is what I'm talking about. That's a discussion. That, in my opinion, is healthy. Healthy, as long as it remains civil. And in some cases it does, and in other cases it doesn't. But what a discussion does, right, is it leads to a better understanding of the issues for everybody involved, whether you're giving your opinion, critiquing an opinion, or just watching and looking at all the different opinions. That's healthy. That should not go away. And doing so should not be looked at by anybody as, oh my gosh, you're disloyal. No, I have an opinion. People have an opinion. We can talk about the issues, okay? That leads to a better understanding of the issues for everybody involved instead of shut up and get in line, right? However, outright taking the ball and going home, like Dave Smith did yesterday. Oh, I'm ashamed I ever supported him. I don't support him anymore. And so many other people went down that road last night. And they did so based on unsubstantiated rumors and reporting. These people who hate Israel, okay? You can't trust Israel. You can't trust Israel. You can't trust Israel. Were citing reports from Israeli media to back up their claims. Folks, these people are frauds. They will swear up and down all over the place that Israel is not to be trusted. But when Israeli media like International News Channel 24, which is based in Tel Aviv, or Israeli Channel 14 says the U.S. is getting involved in Iran, they go, see, we told you so, and here's the proof. And it was from Israeli media. So you can't trust Israel until Israel says something that confirms their opinion. Then all of a sudden, Israel can be trusted. They're frauds. Taking your ball and going home based off of unsubstantiated rumors and reporting is unhealthy and makes you look ridiculous. Listen, those of you who've been watching, listening every day, every morning for years now, You guys know that I have disagreed with some decisions that the Trump administration has made. I have given my opinion on potential outcomes of vice presidential picks, different endorsements, different policy decisions, different messaging options. I've given my opinion on it. I've disagreed with some of the things he's done. I agree with many, many more of the things he's done. Never once, not ever, have I considered saying, that's it, I'm done, MAGA hat's going in the trash. Never once, not ever. There's too much at stake. There's too much at stake. Discussion is healthy. Throwing a tantrum online, I'm done supporting him, that's not healthy. That's silly. Asking and petitioning and making noise about a decision that the administration has made to try and get that decision reversed or modified is a good thing. Remember, our elected officials, who do they work for? They work for us. We should be giving our input. And if we disagree with something, we should be saying that. Not because some group of online trolls is going to say, you're banished from MAGA. Screw that. This is a republic. Our elected officials represent us. And in order for them to adequately represent us, they've got to know how we feel about things. Therefore, we have to join these conversations and speak up. So there is a distinction between giving your opinion, talking about issues, wargaming potential outcomes, and having a civil discussion, and outright bashing, trashing, and withdrawing your support based off of unsubstantiated rumors. And I think it's important to make that decision. I had a nice conversation with somebody on X this morning who, he jumped in on the whole you're paid by AIPAC thing. And I was like, dude, just stop. Come on. Do you know how ridiculous? He's like, well, do you ever criticize Israel? I was like, yeah, I did that yesterday. I said that I didn't like Netanyahu's language. Going on the media and saying, well, it's either America first or America dead. I didn't appreciate that. I don't appreciate all the lobbying from Israel to get us involved offensively. Offensively. I don't appreciate it. I don't think it's right. I think if they were going to start this fight, they should have the means to finish it. Right? That doesn't mean I'm withdrawing my support from Israel either. I support their right to defend themselves. I support their campaign against Iran. I don't want to be involved offensively. All right. Now, even if the trend, and I don't want the Trump administration to go to war or to get us involved offensively. But if they do, I'm not going to say, that's it, I'm done. I may say, I disagree, but maybe they know more than me. Maybe this was the only way. Have we lost that ability to kind of, take that position? Apparently, after last night, a lot of people have. All right, I wanted to get that out of the way, and then we'll get to the updates from the Middle East. Before we do that, folks, new sponsor, Silent. Guys, got to love this. I mean, I think you're all going to love these type of products. Blocking signal infiltration, blocking radiation from your handheld devices, phones, tablets, computers, preventing tracking and hacking and identity theft. These are Faraday bags from Silent. Between the government, big tech, corporate America, and criminals, your privacy is compromised 24/7. There's no other option. You have to protect yourself, and the best way to do that is with Silent. SLNT. Silent's Faraday products block all incoming and outgoing signals so that your devices are invisible and safe from the outside world. From their backpacks, phone sleeves, even pants. Patented signal blocking technology blocks wireless signals, giving you peace of mind that your data does not end up in the wrong hands. Just place your device inside, close it, and that is all you have to do. You're safeguarded from unauthorized access. Go silent today at slnt.com/Sean, SHAWN, to get 15% off plus free shipping on qualifying orders. Stay ahead of what's coming and secure your privacy today. Take a look at that. Look at that. Waterproof Faraday backpack and bundles. Look at this. All sorts of great stuff at Silent. slnt.com/Sean for 15% off. That is slnt.com/Sean silent.com/Sean, SHAWN, for 15% off. Silent, SLNT.com/Sean for 15% off. Okay. Let's move through and talk about what's going on in the Middle East, because there's a lot going on in the Middle East right now. A lot of mixed messages, a lot of mixed signals, and a lot of, honestly, a lot of one side says one thing, one side says the other thing. Let's kind of discern and try and figure out what is going on. Now, yesterday, apparently, Donald Trump got pretty upset with Tucker Carlson. Donald Trump got pretty upset with, what's his name? Emmanuel Macron, right, of France, right? Emmanuel Macron, what's that, VV, right? Emmanuel Macron. And I want to highlight some of what Donald Trump said on Truth Social, because it is important to look at what he himself is saying before what anybody else says he's saying, or I have a source, or you have a source. Everyone says they have sources these days, okay? So, 9 hours ago, this was at 12:15 in the morning, publicity-seeking President Emmanuel Macron of France mistakenly said that I left the G7 summit, you see it on here, in Canada to go back to D.C. to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Wrong. He has no idea why I am now on my way to Washington, but it certainly has nothing to do with the ceasefire. Much bigger than that, whether purposely or not. Emmanuel Macron always gets it wrong. Stay tuned. Okay? That was at midnight Central Time, 1:15 in the morning Eastern Time. Now, that came out right as reports from Axios were coming out that the Trump team is proposing Iran talks this week on a nuclear deal and ceasefire. So Axios was reporting that possible talks were going to be taking place later this week between Iran and the United States. This would be good news for the anti-war coalition, because it would signal that we're leaning in the direction of diplomacy, right? Here's what Axios said. Then we're going to get back to what Donald Trump said after the fact. And again, mixed messaging. Not necessarily the worst thing that there's mixed messaging. You don't want your adversaries necessarily to know what you're going to do. Axios says the following, and I'm just telling you what Axios says. I'm not telling you that this is the hard and fast fact and that this is absolutely what is happening. We're going through different reporting and different comments from different people, different outlets on different sides, okay? This is from Axios. This is not from me. The White House, according to Axios, is discussing with Iran the possibility of a meeting this week between the United States envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, according to 4 sources briefed on the issue. Trump told reporters on Air Force One that he may send Witkoff and Vice President Vance to meet the Iranians, but stressed it depends what happens when he gets back to Washington. Trump stressed he is, quote, not too much in the mood to negotiate with Iran and is not looking for a ceasefire. Quote, we're looking at better than a ceasefire, an end, a real end, not a ceasefire, a real end. He later explained that he is looking for, quote, a complete give up by Iran. Trump warned Iran against targeting U.S. forces and interests in the region. Quote, we will come down so hard if they do anything to our people. It'd be gloves off. I think they know not to touch our troops. Here's what happens. Trump sees the massive bunker busters that the United States currently has needed to destroy Iran's underground enrichment facility at Fordow. The U.S. has these bunker busters. Israel does not have the bunker busters. This is likely why Israel is trying to get the United States involved, because Israel wants those bunker busters to end Iran's nuclear capacity and capabilities. This gives Donald Trump leverage. Trump basically says to the Iranians, I've got something that will take out your nuclear program like this if we want to. You better listen to me. Describing the decision on bunker busters as an inflection point, the official said, Trump thinks in terms of deals and leverage, and this is leverage. They do want to talk, speaking of Iran. But what we don't know is, have they been brought to their knees fully so that they realize that in order to have a country, they have to talk? And assuming they get there, is there any degree of enrichment you would allow them to have? Now, that's what Axios said. Donald Trump, shortly after that article came out from Axios, he said the following, which is important because Donald Trump is the president. Axios, citing people who didn't give their name, is not the president. Donald Trump says this. You see it on your screen. I have not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape, or form. This is just more highly fabricated fake news. If they want to talk, they know how to reach me. They should have taken the deal that was on the table, would have saved a lot of lives. So nobody knows what's going on right now. If I was to guess, I think the wording of the Truth Social posts about peace talks, because that's what he puts in quotes here, is what Donald Trump is focusing on. I don't think Donald Trump is looking for, quote unquote, peace in the traditional sense, i.e. ceasefire. As he said, I think he's looking for end talks, right? If Iran is going to come to the table, it's not because of a ceasefire, it's because of a surrender. So I think more than anything, Donald Trump was attacking the characterization of the reporting more so than the fact that a report came out that suggested that Donald Trump and the administration still wants to try and strike a deal with Iran. Maybe that's just me being hopeful because, again, I don't want the United States offensively involved in this campaign against Iran. However, I'm not the president of the United States. I don't have the intel that they have. I have what everybody else is reading. And, of course, a level of discernment when you see the source, so it's coming. I don't trust Axios. I don't trust I-24 News. Right? So we have to be, the fog of war is very real. Right? There's information everywhere and everybody's confused and looking in different directions. If the administration decides that joining the offensive campaign against Iran is the only way to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon, then that's what they decide. I'm probably not going to be happy with it. I'd like to believe there's a better way. But I'm going to say they know a little more than I do. And by a little more, I mean a whole lot more. I know Donald Trump ran on no new wars. And that was one of the most appealing things about his first term is that there were no new wars. And I know we've heard this before, right? From the intel community. Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Iran is getting closer to a nuke. We've heard that for 20 years, 30 years. I know that those are people we're not supposed to trust. You'd like to think since Donald Trump put his people in place that he can trust the people that are around him. I don't know. There's something going on with Gabbard. Apparently, again, reporting. She was iced out of conversations in Camp David. I don't know what's... Look, it's a very tense situation. It's a very tense situation. I'd like to believe that since Donald Trump has always presented himself as a deal maker, that a deal is still on the table. But not a peace deal, not a ceasefire deal, a surrender deal. A surrender deal. Not only are we done fighting, we're destroying our nuclear program deal. Then the question is, can you trust Iran? And what oversight do you have? Yesterday, Donald Trump posted this message on Truth Social. Iran should have signed the deal I told them to sign. What a shame and waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, which I don't think anybody disagrees with. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, right? I think I asked this question last week in the chat on Thursday, and everyone's like, yeah, no, that's got to be off the table. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. He said, I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. It's a kind of ominous warning to Tehran, isn't it? Was he bluffing? Is he trying to get Iran to the table? Does he know of something that Israel is about to do? I don't know. We know that he knows we have the leverage in this situation. By the way, over both sides. We've got the bunker busters. Israel doesn't. The problem I have with this entire situation is the idea of regime change, and that never seems to work. And our friend David Strom over on hotair.com wrote an amazing piece last night about, well, if the Iranian regime falls and is toppled, what happens after that? As Strom notes, Persia in the 60s and 70s was a rapidly developing and westernizing country. It was the regional power, balancing the less Western-friendly Arab states. The women were treated with dignity and enjoyed the same freedoms as Western women. Videos of Iranians living their daily life were not very dissimilar to those from a European Mediterranean city. But the regime was toppled by Islamists who were very unhappy with the trend toward westernization. An unholy alliance between communists and Islamists systemically undermined the regime. And when Jimmy Carter withdrew United States support for the Shah due to his repression of the opposition, the regime fell. The Shah was right. Carter was wrong. We have been in a low-medium level conflict with Iran for over 4 decades, and millions died in the Iran-Iraq war because of Carter's foolishness. The Middle East was destabilized, and progress was set back for decades. Still, the fall of the Ayatollahs and the reinstatement of a constitutional monarchy, a somewhat likely outcome, does not guarantee that Iran returns to relative stability, just as the fall of Gaddafi in Libya led to chaos. That's one possible outcome. The mechanisms of state power are being destroyed, and Iran's economy has been devastated by sanctions and now this war. Rebuilding a country is not easy, and reconstituting its institutions of state power is no small task. The country could fragment, and a rump resistance is inevitable. It's clear, though, that millions of Iranians want to be freed from the restrictions of the current regime. But what happens if that regime falls? You know, one of the most dangerous aspects of toppling a regime, when you're dealing with these radical Islamists, right, is the idea of a power vacuum. Lack of authority breeds a need for authority, right? And these radical Islamists thrive on authority. That is what Sharia law is rooted in. Islamic authority. Radical authority. In many cases, vengeful authority. And usually it is the most radical, toughest, most brutal people who seize power because of their brutality. So what do we do? Can the Iranian people rescue their country? If this regime falls in Iran, what happens? Do we have to now babysit them in reconstructing their country? That's not what I think we should be doing. We have our own problems. But what's the alternative? This is why the situation is incredibly complex. I would like to see the Ayatollahs fall. I would like to see this Iranian regime fall, but there's no guarantee that whatever pops up as the new authority in Iran is going to be any better. And it could get worse. It could get worse. One thing is for sure is I don't want to play an instrumental role like we did in Iraq, like we did in Afghanistan in regime change. But is that the only way Iran gives up its nuclear program? Maybe. Incredibly complex situation, isn't it? I don't envy Donald Trump's job. I certainly don't envy Donald Trump's job. All right, we'll take a break, get out of the Middle East. I've got some good news for all of you. First of all, for those of you also concerned about the Middle East. Here's Parnell last night, Sean Parnell. American forces are maintaining their defensive posture, and that has not changed. We'll protect American troops and our interests. So that is encouraging. And this is the clip, by the way, of Netanyahu that got me very upset yesterday.
Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. That's what these people want. They chant death to America. So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil. America should and does stand with the good. That's what President Trump is doing, and I deeply appreciate his support.
So the whole, I don't understand. I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. Look, he's not wrong that Iran chants death to America, but they have no way right now of bringing death to America. So, that's. I don't like when foreign leaders talk about my country like that, especially on American media, but on television in general. I just don't like it. It puts a bad taste in my mouth. It's very provocative. I heard that and I said, well, who the hell is this guy? I'm not a big fan of this Netanyahu. I feel like that was provocative. Not exactly. You're not winning me over with that. Let's put it that way. You're not winning me over with that. You come on American media and you go, well, I don't get it. I get America first. I don't get America dead. There wasn't a better way to phrase that? Really? I think Israel could do better than him too, by the way. And hopefully they do soon. They started this war, and the United States made it clear, we got your back defensively. We don't have your back offensively because it's your war, not our war. He knew that. And now this. I don't know. That just doesn't sit right with me. So we could disagree. It just doesn't sit right with me. All right. Let's get to a word from another one of our new sponsors, My Patriot Supply, mypatriotsupply.com. And then then we're going to do some good news. I got some good news, folks. This is going to be a thank you to all of you, by the way. What we're going to cover right after My Patriot Supply. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. You ever notice how the power always seems to go out right when you need it most? Getting ready to take a shower after a long day in the yard, and you want to take a nice hot shower, and boom, power goes out. No hot water heater, right? Or maybe it's just blistering hot outside. Everybody's running the air. Grid fails. Boom. Now you're sweating like a stuck pig. Out of control. Folks, whether it's a heat wave, a summer storm, or just too many people running the air conditioning at once, the fragile power grid always has a problem keeping up. This is why I want to talk to you about the Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator from My Patriot Supply. This thing is an absolute beast. 3,300 watts of off-grid power that keeps your fridge, your freezer, your lights, even your medical devices running whenever the grid power fails. Right now, there's an amazing deal going on at mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. If you order and buy the Grid Doctor 3300, they will throw in 2 waterproof 200-watt solar panels completely free. These are military-grade solar panels. They're not the cheap plastic panels. These things are the real deal. You could charge up the generator when the grid fails. You could run this thing in your home, whisper quiet, no fumes, no gas. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned to get your free panels today when you order the Grid Doctor 3300. If there was ever a time to get serious about blackout protection, that time is right now. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. That's mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned for the Grid Doctor 3300. All right. Adna, I can't read. That's a big name. Adna says, I agree. Netanyahu's statement sounded like a threat. I thought it was an implicit threat. It sounded like an implicit threat. Maybe he didn't mean it that way. Maybe he didn't mean it that way. But to me, it sounded like an implicit threat. And I didn't like it. And I want to basically compare it to this. We wouldn't like it if Zelensky did it. Right? We wouldn't like it if Zelensky did it. If I don't like it when Zelensky does it, I don't like it when Netanyahu does it. Now, yes, Israel gives more to us than Ukraine does, provides more to us than Ukraine does. Fine, point stipulated. But Zelensky could make the same argument about Russia, right? We're fighting Russian expansion, and Russia wants you dead. And they sponsor terrorism. They're the largest, one of the biggest global sponsors of terrorism. They're in bed with Iran. So just consider that. That's all. Just consider that. All right. I got some good news. Ladies and gentlemen. Do you remember last Thursday and last Friday, one of the biggest issues that came across our plate when it comes to mass deportations? You guys remember? Do you guys remember? Anybody remember that? Because this was one of the best developments that I have seen over the course of the last couple of days with the Trump administration. And this, to me, proves that Donald Trump is listening to his supporters. The farm and hospitality exemptions. I was not happy about it. Look at this post right here. I made this on X. Take a look. I mean, a lot of people viewing it. A lot of people engaging with it. It's not to toot my own horn. It's what happened. Employers shouldn't get exemptions for hiring illegals. They should get fined. Whatever. Not what any of us voted for. Another one. Mass deportations asterisk. I can't believe we all missed the farm, hotel, restaurant asterisk. And now that all those three industries got their exceptions, what will stop other countries from trying? You think construction isn't next? What about landscaping? This is horrible. Well, after all the noise that you made, after all the noise that Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen Polling made, after all the noise that Ned Ryan made, after all the noise that everybody made on this issue, because it's not what we voted for, because we starkly disagreed with giving exemptions for illegal aliens in this country. Thank you to everybody who took up arms in this fight, because the Trump administration has officially reversed that guidance, exempting farms, hotels, leisure, restaurant, etc. from the immigration raids. You did that by speaking up. This is why anybody who comes at you saying, oh my gosh, you're criticizing Trump, you're disloyal, gets a double-barrel middle finger from me, because we didn't like this position. We didn't like this stance. We didn't like this policy. We made our voices heard, and we got them to change course. From this report, the Department of Homeland Security on Monday told staff that it was reversing guidance issued last week that agents were not to conduct immigration raids at farms, hotels, and restaurants, a decision that stood at odds with President Trump's calls for mass deportations of anyone without legal status. You did that. You did that by speaking up. You did that by participating. You did that by not being afraid of online troll armies that are going to accuse you of being disloyal to President Trump. You did that by standing up for what you knew was the right thing to stand up for. We all voted for no exemptions. We all voted for mass deportations. We all voted to get every illegal alien out of this country. Why? Because they're stealing jobs from Americans. Because businesses in this country are profiting off of illegal immigration. We all made our voices clear. We all made our voices heard. We all made our statements loudly and civilly. We all made sure that we were loud enough for the administration to hear us. So what happened? The administration said, you know what? We represent the people. And the people don't want this. And we're going to do what the people want. So congratulations to all of you who made that possible. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to know that your president is listening to you? Isn't it nice to know that? Isn't that a great feeling? To know that we made a bunch of noise over the course of the last 5 days. We made enough noise over the course of the last 5 days that the administration said, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't do that. Isn't that nice to see? Doesn't that feel good? Take a look at this, by the way. Here's proof that we were right about the whole thing. An ICE raid in Nebraska at a food processing plant, a meat packing plant. Pete Buttigieg is applying for a job there. Meat packing plant, you know what I'm talking about. Opens jobs for Americans and legal immigrants. Could you imagine that? This is why we didn't want the exemptions. On Breitbart, John Binder. Following an immigration and customs enforcement raid on Glen Valley Foods, a meatpacking plant in Omaha, Nebraska, Americans and legal immigrants. I have no problem with legal immigrants. None. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. It's not, I'm not at war with people who aren't from this country and are living here. I'm at war with people who aren't from this country and are living here illegally. I know people who are anti-all immigrant. That's not me. What is my view? My view is there are laws to come into the country. Follow them, come into the country legally. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. If I do have a problem with how many legal immigrants are coming into the country, my issue is not the immigrant. My issue is the law. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm anti-illegal immigrant. This is why. As Breitbart News reported last week, ICE agents raided Glen Valley Foods and arrested more than 70 illegal aliens who were working at the meatpacking plant. Company president Chad Hartman said he uses E-Verify on every potential new hire and thus was unaware that any illegal aliens were working at the plant. E-Verify, which can be defrauded using a stolen social security number, is meant to verify that a potential employee is legally allowed to work in the United States. An NBC News report reveals that a couple of days after the ICE raid, Americans and legal immigrants poured into Glen Valley Foods with the hope of scoring the newly opened jobs. Every seat in the waiting area of Glen Valley Foods was occupied with people filling out job applications early Thursday afternoon, 2 days after the meatpacking plant became the center of the largest worksite immigration raid in the state of Nebraska so far. How about it? That's why we stood against the exemptions. That's why I stood against the exemptions. And so many of you stood against the exemptions. Because it was the wrong thing to do. Because creating that exemption for the farm, hospitality, hotel, leisure, restaurant, whatever you want to call it, industry, only opens the door to more industries saying, well, what about our exemptions? And once you extend those exemptions to construction and landscaping and painting, how long until you have to extend those exemptions to retail? It would have been a never-ending, like Oprah, you get an exemption, you get an exemption, you get an exemption. And we said, nope, because that can only lead to one thing. The A word. What's the A word? Amnesty. None of us voted for amnesty. And the whole exemptions thing was what I like to call soft amnesty. But because you, all of us, rallied our voices, amplified our voices, and led this charge to let the administration know that a significant portion of the base was dead against this policy decision, the administration listened, and the administration did the right thing. And that is why it is very important to speak up when you disagree with something that they're doing. It is not disloyal. It is not weak. It is not flimsy. It is our duty to tell our elected representatives, including the President of the United States, what we want them to do for us. This is a prime example. A prime example of that. And I'm very happy to see that the administration was listening, the administration was watching, and the administration acted. All right, I have a really funny story here. I have a funny story from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. You know Sean Duffy? He's the new Transportation Secretary, took over for Pete Buttigieg, right? He is coming off the top rope. He is jumping off the top rope here, and is it's great. It really is. To me, it's great what he's planning on doing to sanctuary cities. Before we get to that, I would like to show you the LFA TV store over at lfatv.us. Of course, that's jeremyherald.com/store as well. lfatv.us. Take a look right here at the LFA TV store. Click on that LFA TV store tab, scroll down, and hit the Visit the Store tab right here. Spring cleaning sale is in effect right here at the LFA TV store, okay? 20% off until June 30th. LFATV.us, click on that store tab. You've got mugs, you've got shirts, you got tumblers, and you've got the Rise Up coffee. I always say, you're looking for gift ideas, why don't you get the Rise Up coffee, pair it up with the mug, and you've got yourself a nice 1-2 punch for a gift for somebody you love, a friend, a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, a dad, a mom, anybody who's a coffee drinker, but maybe they're not coffee drinkers. Maybe you want something else. You get that I Don't Really Care Margaret shirt with J.D. Vance's little chipmunk cheeks. I love that shirt right there. Boom. I Don't Really Care Margaret. That was one. I Don't Really Care Margaret. I don't want these people in our country. Yes, that's why we're doing no exceptions. LFATV.us or jeremyherald.com/store. Again, click on that Visit the Store tab, the LFA TV store tab on the top of the website, then visit the store to see the entire offering on the website, LFATV.us or jeremyherald.com/store. All right? Another quick drink, huh? Oh, this tea. It's tremendous. Great. It's wonderful tea. Nobody has better tea than I do. All right. Remember the riots? Let's take a trip down memory lane. Remember the riots in Los Angeles? Of course you remember the riots. Stuff like this.
Fourth day of rallies and protests on the streets of Los Angeles.
It was a peaceful rally. What is going on right now is also peaceful.
Here we are expecting rallies later on.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
In Los Angeles, there is a new crowd of protesters that has been building.
CNN had it that these were rallies. Now they've become protests. I'm afraid that by tonight they become riots. If we don't have the ability to stand up and stop this violence before it consumes a great city like Los Angeles, then there's no telling where this could spread.
Yeah, those are the riots from Los Angeles, and we also saw those riots, of course, spreading to places like Chicago and New York and Seattle and Philadelphia. Remember what ABC called it?
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
So
Bunch of people watching cars burn, having fun. Okay. Guys want to continue to refer to these riots like that? Well, Sean Duffy has a little word for you. This, to me, is the boss move of all boss moves. You ready? You ready? Sean Duffy says if you are a sanctuary city and you had anti-ICE riots and you defy immigration laws and you're allowing rioters to torch transportation infrastructure, you will not get federal funding to rebuild your cities. Yes! Absolute yes! It's absolutely the right move. Absolutely the right move. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced that the United States Department of Transportation will not be bailing out so-called sanctuary cities that defy federal immigration laws or allow rioters to torch infrastructure. Quote, the U.S. Department of Transportation will not fund rogue state actors who refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement, Duffy stated bluntly on X. And to cities that stand by while rioters destroy transportation infrastructure, don't expect a red cent from Department of Transportation either. Follow the law or forfeit the funding. Duffy's statement is a direct response to President Trump's renewed call to crack down on Democrat-run cities that harbor illegal immigrants and enable chaos. Now, of course, you're probably going to get a judge. You can't do that. And this will have to be, this will have to go through the court process. But the fact that we're even going down this road from Sean Duffy is to me, I support this 100%. Why should a city that is openly allowing and encouraging, remember, there were instances where this was encouraged. This was encouraged in some instances. Why should a city that is encouraging lawlessness, I'm not just talking about a city that doesn't enforce jaywalking. I'm not talking about a city that necessarily has, go cashless bail and all. I'm talking about a city that is openly granting people a carve-out from federal law. People who are in this country illegally, right? People who are in this country illegally. They crossed the border outside of a port of entry. It is a misdemeanor on its first offense. It is a felony on its next offense. If you are here illegally and you came into this country illegally, you're already a criminal. We know a lot of the hardened violent criminals like Tren de Aragua, MS-13, a lot of these, whether they're street gangs, drug dealers, gangbangers, rapists, murderers, folks that Donald Trump had said they're from insane asylums. They go to these sanctuary cities because they can hide out there, because they're protected there. Why should a city that is openly priding itself on defying federal law receive federal funding for damage that was created and brought about by the very people that they're trying to conceal from the government? The answer is there is no reason why a city that allows illegal immigrants to reside within its limits, those illegal immigrants and protesters who support those illegal immigrants, rioters that support those illegal immigrants, have destroyed portions of the city. Now they want the federal government to bail them out to rebuild the city, when if they were just following federal law, none of that would have happened in the first place? Absolutely not. Sean Duffy is making the move that I don't know if other people would be brave enough to make. This is the way to handle this situation. And I know you're going to get some activist judge somewhere is going to say he can't do it. I know. And it's going to have to play itself out in court. But the argument is these cities are already violating federal law. They don't deserve the funding. They have no right to the funding because they wouldn't need the funding had they followed the law in the first place. If these illegals came to these cities and a place like Seattle or Philadelphia or Los Angeles or Chicago had said, hey, we got all these illegals here, ICE, come get rid of them, there would be no riots because there would be no illegals torching cars. There would be no expectation that an illegal alien can come and hide in the city. So Sean Duffy is absolutely right to do this. And I support this 1,000%. This is the way to do it. He who holds the bag makes the rules. We hold the bag. Kudos to Sean Duffy. I happen to love it. I happen to love it a lot. All right. Thank you to everybody who has watched and listened today. We greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you can, please hit the like button. If you're watching on Rumble, rumble.com/LFA TV. If you're watching on X, wherever you're watching, find a way to hit the like button, hit the repost button, hit the reply button, drop a comment, do something. Let me know you're there. I want to talk to you. I love responding to a lot of the comments and whatnot as well, as long as you're civil, right? And, some people write a book, and books are tough to get through. I got to go through those comments on multiple occasions, but it's all right. We're happy you're here. We greatly appreciate everybody who watches the show every day. If you can, please go anywhere you get your podcast, search Ungoverned, hit subscribe. It's completely free, but it helps us reach the audio demographic as well. So more people can hear it. It's just a good fallback. If you can't watch the video, you could always listen to it later. We put it up right after the show ends. Thank you so much for watching and listening. As always, Jeremy Harrell coming up next here on LFA TV with Live from America for the next 2 hours as tensions in the Middle East ramp up. What's going to happen? Nobody knows what's going to happen, but we could talk about it. We could discuss it. We could have healthy conversations about it. We could agree to disagree where we disagree, and we can continue moving forward. One thing I think we all want, we want the most peaceful resolution possible, to save the most lives, to keep the chaos to a minimum. We got Mo. We got 700. Thank you for 700. Thank you, everybody, for watching again and listening. Jeremy's coming up next for the next 2 hours, as President Trump would say. We will never give up. We will never give in. And we will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again for making as much noise as you did about those ICE raid exemptions. You did that. You made it a reality. You made your voice heard. The administration clearly heard you. And the administration did the right thing. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, rumble.com/LFA TV. In the words of John Fetterman. Good night, everybody. Bang, gavel. We will see you tomorrow morning.